Welcome back to Bourbon Country Reacts. If you enjoy our videos, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, share it. Share it on whatever media you prefer. Facebook, YouTube, wherever. I'm Keith.
He's the music guy.
I'm kind of a music guy. I've been trying to figure out how to play a guitar for 35 years. I have not done a very good job of it. But I do have a working knowledge of music. Dustin, this is Dustin. He's our bourbon guy.
I'm here for the bourbon. That's why I'm here. He's like, hey, you want to listen to some music and drink some bourbon? Yeah, let's drink some bourbon.
Yeah.
Oh, you said something about music? Oh, okay. Country? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, neither of us know anything about country. You are teaching us about country.
True.
This is another country song that, to our knowledge, neither of us have heard. And it is a viewer suggestion. We are using, let's see, this is our third or fourth video in a row that comes directly from your suggestions. So comment. We do use the YouTube comments. So if this gets shared on Facebook or something and you're commenting there, we're probably not going to see it. But on the YouTube comments, we are going to see it. We also do try to respond to everybody, or at least as many as we can, that comment on our videos and in our channel. So, but please don't get offended if we don't get to you. We will try.
Yep.
So our song selection is apparently it's Tyler Childers' Whitehouse Road. Now, I'm not even sure I've even heard the name Tyler Childers.
I haven't.
But looking at this video, I see there were a couple of videos with an awful lot of views. This one has almost 32 million views. So it's probably a pretty popular song.
I'd assume.
Yeah, well, and I guess we've been living under a rock since we haven't heard it. I mean, maybe we have somewhere and we don't know. But I don't know anything about this song.
Like if it's in a commercial or movie or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Real quick, so before we get started with that, let's talk super quick about this bourbon that we have with us today. This is one that you've not tried.
I have not
I
had
can
this.
confirm that for sure. But I have. I've opened this one. So this one is special because it's actually an Indiana bourbon. A lot
And
like
We're
that's,
in Indiana.
That's where we are. Yep. So what's interesting about that is a lot of people think, there's the myth that only bourbon comes from Kentucky. Actually, anywhere in the U.S. is bourbon, but specifically in the United States. But this one is an Indiana bourbon. It's Hugh Hammer. It's a double oaked, so it's 103 proof, and I'm really interested to see what you're going to think of this one. So I'll pour it and you get us started.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last one paired with Steel Drivers, the bar is high. That Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection kind of blew my mind. So we've set a very high bar both on music and bourbon, because last time it was Steel Drivers and a really good, so good bourbon, good music.
Well, and real quick before we get started with it, I don't know that I know of very many Indiana bourbons that you actually are like, yeah, I'll go buy that.
So, well, there's a thing with bourbons not from Kentucky. So, one of the big secrets of Kentucky bourbon and why you really should look first for bourbons made in Kentucky is the water. I've had bourbons out of Florida, Indiana, a few other states, and there's just something wrong with the finish, because you can taste that this is not that high limestone Kentucky water.
You're not wrong.
Now,
But
I have had an Indiana bourbon that was number one, it was incredible. 2, you could not tell it was not from India or not from Kentucky. And 3, I'm not telling you what it is because it's so good. If you people find out about it, I won't be able to get in it.
That's true. But here's this one. Maybe we'll get into that later when we got a little bit of stock in that bourbon or something.
Yeah.
But this is an Indiana bourbon, double oaked, 103 proof. So
Got a great nose. All right. Well, so let's listen to some Tyler Childers and figure out what this guy's all about.
Early in the morning when the sun does rise.
All right, I gotta stop. So I've already got this kind of vibe from this that is reminding me of Steve Earle's Copperhead Road.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you consider Steve Earle country or not. I think he's more of a folk guy, but that whoomp, whoomp, whoomp on the bass
Yep.
and kind of the
What
higher,
we're bobbing our heads to.
yeah, the higher chords. With Steve Earle, it was guitar and mandolin, but right now I'm mostly hearing guitar. I'm going to start that over. So far, this intro has hooked me. The vocals, what little I've heard, sound cool. So I'm just going to start the whole thing over.
Early in the morning when the sun does rise. Laying in the bed with bloodshot eyes.
I can relate.
Late in the evening when the sun sinks low. That's about the time my rooster crows. I got women up and down this creek. And they keep me going and my engine clean. Run me ragged but I don't fret. There ain't been one slow me down, none yet. Get me drinking that moonshine. Get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall. Throw 'em in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine. Ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Lord, it's a mighty hard living. Damn good feeling to run these roads.
There's an instrument in there. I can't pick. Like, is it an electric guitar back there?
Yeah, I was hearing an electric with a little bit of distortion.
Okay.
But this, as far as the theme of the lyrics, it's reminding me a little bit of the 80s.
I could see that.
Chase women, get high, party, get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rock and roll country song.
Well, the rock and roll guys out of L.A. didn't talk much about chasing women down creeks, but
That's true. That's true.
the party vibe though is definitely there, and I can feel that a little bit. So, all right, here we go.
I got people try to tell me red. Keep this living and you wind up dead.
Yeah.
Cast your troubles on the Lord of Lords.
That looked
Wind up laying on a cooling board.
like the guy from Dead South almost.
But I got buddies up Whitehouse Road. And keep me strutting when my feet hang low. Rock up whiskey gonna ease my pain.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And all this running's gonna keep me sane. Get me drinking that moonshine. Get me higher than the grocery bill. Take my troubles to the high wall. Throw 'em in the river and get your fill. We've been sniffing that cocaine. Ain't nothing better when the wind cuts cold. Oh, it's a mighty hard living.
there's something to that, man. That whole damn good feeling to run these roads, that connects with the wilder parts of my youth that I won't be talking about on a public YouTube channel.
No, this is not the explicit channel, right?
Well, we've got these things called employers, and yeah. I'm just gonna say that I can relate to the feeling he's getting at there. Back in the day, in the before times, before I was such a fine, upstanding citizen I am today. Dustin's looking for a lightning bolt to come down here. All right, back to Whitehouse Road here.
I heard it. I'm not used to it. These country songs.
That's a straight blues rock lead.
Okay. I like it.
So that's a different guitar player.
I like it.
And he's on a slide.
You lay me in the cold hard clay. Won't you sing them hymns while the banjo plays?
It's cool.
Tell them ladies that they ought not frown.
Very bluegrass lyrics.
There ain't been
vocals.
nothing ever held me down. All men, women on shallow graves, same old blues, just a different day. Get me drinking that moonshine. Get me higher than the grocery bill.
Get me higher than the grocery bill.
That chorus, I was like, that's an interesting way to look at it.
I'm not a big fan of cocaine, but
Somebody ought to live, but a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads. It's a damn good feeling to run these roads.
I like him because his vocals, unlike that Steel Driver song that we listened to, his vocals just like they sound effortless.
yeah, that's true. This to me, this has it's almost less like a country song. Not that I really know what a country song really sounds like,
But the ones we've heard so far, right?
it seems less like a country song and more like a super well engineered, very good folk song. Right? Like when I brought up Steve Earle at the beginning of this video,
Right.
this is like what Steve Earle might sound like with 10 studio ringers behind him and, top line sound engineers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot less raw than something Steve Earle would do, at least in what I know of him. But man, it's got a great sound. The song has a good vibe.
Yeah.
It's kind of a country vibe feel, right?
Yeah. And I could see sticking this in with. I mentioned the Dead South earlier. I mean, that's I guess a bluegrass band, right?
They sound very bluegrass to me, what I've heard.
Yeah. So I could see sticking those. So Stapleton, the Dead South, and this guy. I could see them on the same playlist. That'd be a good mix.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we're about at the end of the song. Let's see what the tail out sounds like.
All right.
Almost a little honky tonk guitar there, right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug it. Good song. I'm not sure I would see this in my main playlist, but you were talking about building a playlist out of things like Steve Earle, Dead South, some folk and bluegrass. I could see this fitting right in there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got a cool vibe. I kind of feel like I ought to be driving one of these Indiana 2 lanes to nowhere in a a 1970s F-150. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
half a can of Skull in my lip and a can of Bud Light in my hand, just going down the road.
No drinking and driving.
Throwing the empties in the tail. No, never drink and drive,
We're not
kids.
doing that.
I'm actually
I'm staying here.
I'm actually zero tolerance about that. I'd never drink and drive. But that's kind of the vibe you get with it, right? Which you could have gotten away with in the 80s. Yeah, you could. I promise you could have gotten away with in the 80s, theoretically.
Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking.
So hypothetically speaking, what do you think of this? What do you think of this Indiana bourbon? Now I know we set a high bar with that Ezra Brooks, but this is an Indiana bourbon.
So I do get the slightest hint of that not Kentucky water.
Okay.
It's not bad though. I've had some where it's bad.
You're just like,
the finish, you're like, my mouth tastes like I've been sucking on gunmetal. It's
Yeah, that's a good or copper.
yeah. So it's not that. It's very mild. Let me take a sip and get some impressions here. So this has a little bit lighter flavor. I don't want to call it fruity because it's not sweet.
There's pepper. There's definitely pepper in it.
Yeah.
That kind of like you get a transition from sweet and pepper a little bit back and forth.
That's a pretty good way to describe it. It's relatively smooth. What did you say the proof on it?
103.
It tastes smoother than it should at 103. Legit. It's got a little bite to it. I mean, you're drinking something. The finish is not bad. I get a very lemony finish.
I don't get the lemon. I see the citrus kind of in the middle, but so it says on the bottle right here, double oaked. I definitely get that punch of oak right there at the end. Like it's just like, that's a good log. That's a pretty good log.
so there's a limit to that though. Dustin did an experiment at his house. He got his own oak barrel and extra aged some stuff.
Pretty sure it was red oak barrel.
And he's like, we did kind of a blind flight of it.
And 3 barrels.
Because he had 3 barrels. And I got into one of them and sipped it, and I felt like I was chewing on a tree. There was so much oak in it. You know how oak sawdust smells? Well, that's how this bourbon tasted. Well, it wasn't bourbon anymore, but that's how this whiskey tasted.
It was a really sweet wood, though. It was weird.
Yeah, delicious sweet sawdust. This is nowhere near that. It's really, really pleasing. I mean, this may be, how much this bottle cost? Do you remember?
This is like a $40 bottle, and you can get it at Meijer.
Man, that's a buy all day for $40.
This is my own personal bottle at home, but we were at a friend's house at a pool party, and I ran up to the store real quick to get some bourbon because they didn't have any. Tragedy, really. But I went up to the local. There was a Meijer like 2 miles down the road, and I walked in and I was looking at the shelf, and I was I went in looking for Jack Daniel's Select because I was like, that's everywhere. Everybody's got that. And I saw they had 2 of these bottles left, and I was like, this was what came home with me. So.
Well, it looks like a good call. You know what? Between this and Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select, which one of the most underrated and unknown whiskeys on planet Earth. Don't tell anybody. It'll make it expensive. Between that, I think it's a toss-up. They taste very different, but they're both very good. So, no, it's not as good as that Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection.
I think that one's a little more expensive too. So I mean, apples and oranges.
Yeah, true. but a very good bourbon. I recommend it, and if I see some, it's going on my shelf next time I'm at the store. So we really enjoyed the song.
It was a good one.
Tyler Childers has a great voice. The musicianship was excellent. The studio engineering was obviously top notch. Had a great vibe, great feel, and this hammer is
Hugh Hammer.
It's
Or
Hugh
Hammer?
Hammer.
I don't know.
Hugh Hammer.
There's only
Hammer.
one M. Hammer? I don't know.
Hamer.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Give it a try. So hit that like button. Subscribe to us. We'll have more of these coming. And hey, share us. Maybe other folks will enjoy our breakdown on the bourbons and our reaction to country music we've never heard.
You know, tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like.
Drop in the comments and tell us both bourbons and music we should be listening to and tasting. Thanks for joining us.